Kia ora and welcome back. Hip-hop culture is alive and kicking in the Waikato. 3 men in Hamilton have formed a breakdance group to keep kids off the streets.
This is a Prime News Update.
Good evening. The sister of one of the country's most vicious murderers, Gresham Marsh, at least 15 people killed, more than 100 injured in the collapse of a Moscow swimming centre. Helen Clark hits out after Don Brash takes the lead in the opinion polls. And a yachtsman rescued after a dramatic operation in the Southern Ocean.
This is Prime News, first at 5:30 with Susie Aiken.
Hello there and welcome to Prime News, first at 5:30.
Rape case emotion. The families of those acquitted expressed relief at the not guilty verdicts. Startling admission. Condoleezza Rice concedes that mistakes have been made in Iraq. Singing the blues. A much-needed win for the Aucklanders in the Super 14.
Prime News, first at 5:30.
Good evening. Also tonight, Kiwi families, students and workers set to benefit from legislation changes.
Tonight on Prime News, a beloved grandfather killed in a house fire. How a simple smoke alarm could have saved his life.
He knocked my brother down and he knocked me down, but we caught him.
A miraculous escape for a toddler who fell from a 4th-storey window. And forget the speed cameras, there'll be no tickets for this boy racer on Auckland's Harbour Bridge.
Prime News, first at 5:30 with Kelly Swanson-Rowe.
Kia ora, good evening. A house fire in South Auckland has claimed the life of an elderly Tongan man.
Tonight on Prime News, Christmas commotion in the Vatican City as a woman jumps barriers to knock down the Pope. South Auckland police make a second arrest after one of their own cheats death in a volley of gunfire. And jingle bells make way for GPS. Santa goes high-tech as he celebrates Christmas Day across the globe. Merry Christmas. This is Prime News for Friday, December the 25th. Also tonight, weather looks set to spoil hopes of a new race record in tomorrow's Sydney to Hobart race. And crazy football fans in Europe won't let the snow rain on their parade.
This is Prime News, first at 5:30.
The Pope has been knocked down during the annual Christmas Mass. Queensland awash. Unprecedented flooding takes thousands by surprise. We have telling pictures as the Insong fishing disaster unfolded in New Zealand's Ross Sea. And beware the messenger. Police warn retailers about a bogus courier driver and his EFTPOS card skimmer. Good evening, it's Thursday the 30th of December. I'm Karen Rutherford. Also tonight in sport, Ricky Ponting's little finger continues to cause problems for the Aussie captain. And Lance Armstrong pulls out of the Rotorua Multisport Festival.
This is Prime News, first at 5:30.
Kia ora, good evening. Residents in parts of flood-ravaged Queensland.
Tonight on Prime News, 3 more All Blacks out to injury, what it means for our World Cup hopes. The Reserve Bank keeps interest rates on hold, but how long will it last? And Back to the Future, NASA reveals a new plan to reach the red planet. This is Prime News for Thursday the 15th of September. I'm Alistair Wilkinson. Also tonight, how Graham Henry's reshuffled the team for tomorrow's game against Japan. Plus, Ryan Giggs shows how experience can count at the Champions League.
This is Prime News, first at 5:30.
Kia ora, good evening.
And Dunedin gets a cold blast tomorrow with showers midweek.
Good evening, I'm Yannicka Turellen. Tonight on Prime News. So, who's the choker now? Why Glenn Maxwell may regret this taunt at the very end of last night's cliffhanger between the Black Caps and Australia. Murder in Moscow, but who's to blame? The Kremlin and opposition groups accuse each other of assassinating a fierce critic of President Putin. And open wide and say yum. The waiting's over. The bluff oyster season's finally here.
This is Prime News.
Kia ora, good evening. The country's collective nerves are still settling down following last night's Cricket World Cup thriller. Kia ora, good evening. I'm Yannicka Turellen. Tonight on Prime News. A crackdown on bridge jumpers after a video is released showing a man jumping from more than 20 metres at a swimming spot near Tauranga. Palmerston North parents are on alert as a suspect accused of kidnapping a young girl remains on the loose. The government hasn't ruled out putting money toward an Able Tasman beach as donations from the public soar past the target sum to buy it. And it's a fine Sunday, but the clear weather won't last into next week for everyone.
This is Prime News, first at 5:30.
A death-defying jump at a popular waterhole near Tauranga.
Kia ora, good evening. I'm Melissa Davies. Tonight on Prime News. The clean-up's underway, but residents in Roxburgh remain without power and running water following flash flooding. Fears of a major volcanic eruption in Bali as clouds of ash force the airport to close, and police chase new recruits with an action-packed take on the job in New Zealand.
This is Prime News, first at 5:30.
A sudden and powerful flash flood has left residents in Roxburgh facing days without running water and power.
Kia ora, good evening. I'm Carly Flynn. Tonight on Prime News. Charles goes walkabout as royal fanatics camp out for the King's coronation. Our Prime Minister rolls up for another very important date and is again served saucy rolls. And flooding forces people out of their homes in Nelson with the threat of worse to come.
This is Prime News, first at 5:30.
We are just hours away from Coronation Day, the likes of which few of us have ever seen.
Ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa. Tonight on News First, a historic day for Kiwis with the most aggressive form of breast cancer. Pharmac says it'll fund Keytruda. In Britain, a Labour landslide ends 15 years of Conservative Party rule and Sir Keir Starmer becomes PM. And Joe Biden tells Democratic leaders he's staying in the race, he's just tired.
This is News First at 5:30.
Keytruda has long been hailed as a miracle drug, and now it could help dozens of women with the most aggressive form of breast cancer.